it's Tina for Cat Scrappiness. Today I have a fun shaker card to share with you, and I'm going to be using all these products. So I'm using the Honeybee Stamps, the Bee's Knees pattern paper with the yellow star sprinkles. Now, I don't use stars that much on my projects, so I thought I would change it up by creating them and making them as a flower. So what I did is I took a Spectrum Noir black alcohol marker and I colored the centers, and you'll see that it'll go perfectly with the flowers that are in the paper. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create my card base, and I trimmed a heavyweight cardstock, 110 pounds, 8.5 by 5.5, and I've already placed it in the scoring tool, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. This will be an A2 size card, and it's standard, so regular shipping applies. So I scored it at 4 1/4. I'm folding it, and then what I like to do is I like to turn it around and place it in the edge, because sometimes the paper didn't trim well. So then I just take my bone folder and I go across the edge, and there you go. I've already chosen the 3 pattern papers that I'm going to use from the Bee's Knees pattern paper set. So I want to use the floral, the dots, and then the honeycomb. And this will be inside my shaker card. It'll be the background. This will frame it, and then this will be my background. So I'm going to trim this because this is going to go onto my card front, and I'm going to trim it at 5.5 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I trimmed the cardstock, and now I want to adhere it to the front of the card. I'm using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I really like it because when it dries, the card stays sturdy. I've used others in the past and nothing compares to this one. I really like how it dries. So I've applied the glue to the back side, and now I'm going to place it on the front. And what I like to do is I like to take an acrylic block and just place it on top so that it can dry flat. For the shape that I'm going to use for the shaker card, I thought the window should be kind of floral kind of style. So I chose the Stitch Scalloped circle die, and that'll be my frame. And I'm going to use the Never Ending Circles die. And I'm going to be cutting the acetate and the background in a larger circle and do the circle for my frame slightly smaller so that you won't see any of the background that I created with this one. Okay, so when I did pass my dies through my die cutting machine, I taped it together because I wanted to do it in one cut, and I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't slip when placing. And I'm using purple tape, which is really wonderful because it doesn't stick like some other painter's tape. And there you go. That's going to be the frame. So once again, I'm going to use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I'm going to glue the back side and adhere it to the card front. And I specifically wanted the pattern to be this way. So I'm going to place it down. So I've used a double-sided adhesive tape, and I used a very strong one because I'm going to place the acetate on top of it. So I am just placing, and there you go, we have our cover. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't feel like placing tape all around because it is circular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut 2 fun foam, and I'll come right back. Okay, so I cut two pieces using the largest die that I used to create my acetate window and background, and I used the one size smaller to create the window because I want it to cover without it being seen on the other side. So I'm gonna adhere glue, and I'll be right back. So I did want to show you what I did. So using any alcohol marker, all I did was just did a few dots in the center, flipped it over, and there you go, instant flower. I'll show you up close. Okay, so I do want to take my anti-static powder tool, and I do want to go inside the edges and kind of like anti-static it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my make-believe flowers, and now I'm going to place some glue on this side and adhere the top. Okay, so I placed the glue, and now I'm going to cover and I do want this to dry for a while because I don't want anything to stick to the sides. So again, I'm going to place an acrylic block on top so everything becomes flat and dries. Okay, so now I'm removing the acrylic block, and moment of truth. Yay! So now it's time to do the sentiment. So I chose the die, die cuts Smile. So I want to do it on black cardstock, and I want to layer it. So I took out my Xyron sticker maker, and I already pre-cut my black cardstock to the size that I believe will cut 3. So I'm passing it through. So now what I'm doing is I'm removing the release sheet from the backing of the sticker, and now I can layer each one on top of each other. And what I like about the Xyron is that it's not sticky until you really press it down. So I got one layer. Now I have my other layer. And now it's ready to put on the card. Whoops. Now I can place it on the card, and I'm going to put it I've already layered, I think it's called a tittle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my picker tool . Okay. And I'm dotting my I. So I have everything set up in my stamping positioner tool, and I have a sentiment. It says, "It's your birthday, go bananas," but I don't want go bananas. I just want "it's your birthday." So what I did is I put the washi tape over the go bananas. So once I emboss this, I'll remove the tape and then I'll stamp it. So I'm sorry, but I don't have enough space to show everything. I'm taking my anti-static powder tool and I'm going over my black cardstock. This way the embossing powder will only stick to what I want. I'm taking my Versamark and I'm going to stamp it. And of course, before I stamp, I definitely want to remove the washi tape. Now I close the cover, press down. Okay, so now I'm going to use a coffee filter. Well, it'll help me to keep all the embossing powder. So I'm sprinkling the embossing powder on top. And anywhere that I have excess, I will take a fine tip brush and remove all the extra that I don't want on there. Okay, so there's my sentiment, and I want to wipe away the excess anti-static powder. I'm going to trim it and then adhere to the card. Okay, so while I was off camera, I moved my smile because my sentiment is just a little bit larger than I thought. So I was able to move it without destroying the pattern paper. Now I'm removing the release sheet off of the foam tape, and I'm placing my sentiment and there you go. So most of the product can be found at Scrappiness. I'll have a link below as well as on the blog. To receive 10% off your order, use code TINA10 at checkout. I want to wish you a wonderful day and see you again soon. Bye.